Hello, friends. Today I'm going to be reading you the second Mac B book. It's called The Impossible Crime, and it's by Mac Barnett, illustrated by Mike Lowery. And our grade 1 class will be very happy about this because we finished reading the first book at lunchtime every day, and now we can read the second one together. So every week I'll be posting a video of me reading about 6 chapters, and so we will be able to get through the book in the next 3 or 4 weeks. So I hope you enjoy. A note from the author. My name is Mac Barnett. I am an author, but before I was an author, I was a kid, and when I was a kid, I was a spy. An author's job is to make up stories. But the story you're about to read is true. This actually happened to me. And here's a picture and it says, me as a kid is crossed out and it says spy. Chapter 1 is called Spy Master. It was 1989. It was Saturday. It was somewhere I spent many Saturdays in 1989. Golden Tee Golfland. Golden Tee Golfland is a real place on a real street called Castro Valley Boulevard in a real town called Castro Valley. You can look it up. Golden Tee Golfland is a real mini golf course full of all the fake stuff you find at real mini golf courses. Real fake windmills, real fake pagodas, and 3 real fake dragons whose long necks poke out from a volcano. That's what the golf course looks like. Castro Valley is in California, a place with warm sun and wide blue sky. It's almost always nice to be outside, which is great if you love mini golf. When I was a kid, I liked mini golf okay, but I loved video games. And Golden Tee Golfland had an arcade. Outside the arcade, it was a fine spring day. Inside the arcade, it was dark and smelled like old carpet. Above a counter in the corner, there was a pink neon sign that said snack bar. They sold pizza slices for $1. The pizza wasn't good. Plastic air hockey pucks clacked against tables. Hard rubber balls rolled up skee ball alleys and thudded into the gutters. Machines beeped. Kids screamed. Machines booped. Kids screamed some more. There was an area with games that spit out long strands of tickets you could trade in for plastic prizes. Fake spiders, super balls. The prizes were cheap. Ticket games were for suckers. I was there to play video games where a quarter got you 3 lives, and the only prize was a place on the high score list. You didn't play for super balls. You played to be the best. Game cabinets stood in neat rows, like columns in a ruined temple. Their screens glowed. The words, "Insert coin," flashed in the darkness. I was in the corner, past Altered Beast, past Excalibur, past Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and Ghouls and Ghosts. Here's a picture of the arcade. Those games were all good, but I was playing Spy Master 2, Arcade Edition. Spy Master 2 Arcade Edition was the arcade-only sequel to Spy Master. The graphics were better, the missions were crazier, but mostly the game was famous for being really, really hard, impossible, unbeatable. And there I was on the final boss with 3 lives and a power-up. Behind me I heard someone say, "Hey, this kid's gonna beat Spy Master 2. Jump, punch, jump, punch, jump, punch. I'd been hunched over the controls for 3 hours, sweating and smashing buttons. When my mom dropped me off at Golfland that morning, she'd handed me a $5 bill. I'd changed $4 to quarters and spent the last dollar on a slice of pizza. The greasy plate was still perched on top of the game cabinet. A crowd had formed behind me. "He's still got 3 lives," said a kid. "And a power-up," said another kid. I've never seen anyone beat this game, said a 40-year-old man in a tank top who was always in the arcade. I tried to block out the commotion. The final boss of Spymaster 2 was the Spymaster himself, a giant KGB agent who wore a black suit and carried a metal briefcase. The showdown took place on the wing of a Russian airplane. I was pounding away on the jump button, dodging the Spymaster's attacks. "Hey, what's your name, dude?" somebody asked. "Mac." I didn't take my eyes off the screen. "Matt?" This happened to me a lot. "Mac," I said. M-A-C. "Hey, that's only 3 letters. You can put your whole name on the high score list." That was true. It was the best thing about having a 3-letter name in the 1980s. And if I beat the game, I would have the #1 high score. Anybody who came to Golden Tee Golfland would know I was the best. The Spymaster threw a stick of dynamite. I jumped over it and landed a punch on his belly. The crowd was chanting my name. "He's gonna beat it," the man in the tank top shouted. "Rad," said a kid. "Nah, he'll choke." I recognized that voice. It was Derek LaFoy. Derek LaFoy went to my school. He called me Mac Barnett. He threw my gym shoes on the roof of the school. He owned a pet snake, which he kept in a red glowing glass box in the corner of his room. I had heard about the snake from kids who had seen it. I had never been to Derek's house. He never invited me to his birthday parties. If he had, I would have gone. "Derek," I said, "what are you doing here?" "I'm having my birthday party," he said. "Oh," I said. I risked looking up from the game and recognized a lot of my classmates in the crowd around me. Tiffany, Brandon, Hendrick, and both Ashleys. This could be my moment of glory. I had to win. The Spymaster was throwing poison darts. Jump, jump, jump. "Mac, Mac, Mac," chanted the crowd. "Matt, Matt, Matt," chanted a couple kids in the crowd. "Choke, choke, choke," chanted Derek LaFoy. Now the Spymaster's suitcase was glowing. "Why is it glowing?" asked Mr. Tank Top. "Uh-oh," said a kid. Now Derek was the only one chanting, "Choke, choke." 12 rays of light burst from the Spymaster's suitcase and the screen went white. "Aw, man, he used a nuke." I'd never seen anything like it. All 3 of my lives were wiped out. The Spymaster put on a pair of sunglasses and laughed. Ha ha ha. A countdown clock popped up. I had 10 seconds to put in another quarter and continue. So time remaining, 10. I reached into my pocket. There was nothing but the napkin that came with my pizza. Now the time remaining says 6. "Told you he'd choke," said Derek LaFoy. I took out my wallet and undid the Velcro. Maybe I could make it to the change machine and back in 6 seconds. I was out of money. Time remaining 2. "Hey, does anyone have a quarter?" I asked. But the crowd that had grown around me was gone now. Time remaining 1. The screen flashed the saddest 2 words in the English language. Game over. I was stunned. I checked my watch. My mom was on a movie date with her boyfriend Craig. Craig always took my mom to the afternoon shows because he thought only suckers paid full price for movie tickets. My mom wasn't supposed to pick me up for another half hour. What was I supposed to do for all that time? I decided I would go outside and watch people golf. The saddest 10 words in the English language. I pushed the door open and stepped into the daylight. It took a minute for my eyes to adjust. But when I did, I saw something strange by the 18th hole. The 18th hole had a fake castle with a moat and a drawbridge. That wasn't the strange thing. The strange thing was a real dog standing on the drawbridge wearing a backpack and holding a scroll in his mouth. "Freddy," I said. The dog noticed me and began furiously wagging his tail. "Is this your dog?" asked an angry dad who had to hit his ball over the drawbridge to get to the hole. "No," I said. "Well, yes, sort of. No, sort of." "Well, get him out of the way," the dad shouted. But Freddy was already out of the way. He was running over to me. "No dogs allowed at Golfland," the dad said. "Just play, Dennis," said the mom. "You're upsetting Zachary." Freddie lifted his head and offered me the scroll. I took it from his mouth and unrolled it. Freddie's mouth was wet and the ink on the scroll had run, but I could still read it. It said, "Answer the phone." "What phone?" I asked. To my right, a payphone started ringing. I picked up Freddie, then I picked up the phone. It was the Queen of England. Ring, ring. Chapter 2, The Great Game. "Hello," I said. "Hello," said the Queen. "May I speak to Mac?" "Speaking," I said. "Mac, I have an important favor to ask you." "Let me guess," I said. "Someone took the crown jewels?" "Let me speak," said the Queen. "No." "Oh," I said. Usually, when the Queen of England called me, it was because someone took the crown jewels. I smiled. "Did you call to say hello?" "Of course not," said the Queen. "Do you really think I would make a long-distance call just to say hello? What is that awful racket behind you?" "I'm at a mini-golf course," I said. "A what course?" said the Queen. "A mini-golf course," I said. "I do not know what that is," said the Queen, "and I do not care to know." I felt a bit defensive. "It's like golf, but shrunken down," I said. "With lots of obstacles and castles and stuff." "Real castles?" "No, mini castles." "Ah," said the Queen, "sounds dreadful." "I'm just here to play arcade games." "I see," said the Queen, "even worse." "I've been trying to beat this one game for like a month," I said. "And did you beat it?" "No," I said, "it's impossible." The Queen frowned. I could tell she was frowning, even over the phone. Nothing is impossible," said the Queen. "Well," I said, "it's really, really hard." "And why do you play?" the Queen asked. "It's a great game," I said. "Mac," said the Queen, "I did not call to talk to you about a great game. I called to talk to you about the great game." I waited while the Queen paused dramatically. "International spycraft," said the Queen. "Okay," I said. "Mac," said the Queen, "you must come to England at once. Someone is about to steal the crown jewels." "I knew it was about the crown jewels," I said. "Who wants to steal them, a KGB man?" "No," said the Queen, "an Irishman." "I'm part Irish," I said. "That is obvious," said the Queen. "Your name is Mac. Now, Mac, do you accept this mission?" "Nobody's going to steal my pants, are they?" The Queen began coughing horribly. "I beg your pardon," she said. "The first time I went on one of these missions, somebody stole my best pair of blue jeans." "That's true, and you can look it up in Mac B Kids Buy #1 Mac Undercover." "Ah," said the Queen, "your trousers. In Britain, pants mean underwear." So here's a lesson in British English. These are called pants. These are called trousers. "Oh," I said, "that's good to know." "Indeed," said the Queen. "In any case, I make no promises. You are a secret agent. You're responsible for your own trousers." "And pants," I said. "That is not funny," said the Queen. There was a click. I set Freddie on the ground, and he immediately began licking a nearby windmill. She hung up, I said. I stood there not knowing what to do next. At a nearby picnic table, a bunch of kids in my class were sitting around an ice cream cake. Derek LaFoy cut into the cake and then licked the knife. Ice cold," he said. My classmates laughed. I didn't get it. The phone rang again. It was the Queen of England again. "Hello," I said. "Hello," said the Queen. "May I speak to Mac?" "Speaking," I said. "What is that singing in the background?" "Oh, some kids are singing happy birthday to Derek LaFoy." Oh, said the Queen. "Why didn't you say you were at a birthday party?" "I'm not." "Ah," said the Queen. "Well, may I speak to Freddie?" I called Freddie over and placed the phone to his ear. I could hear the Queen give a muffled command. Freddie stuck his snout into his backpack and dug around. He pulled out an envelope and wagged while he held it in his mouth. It says, for Mac Barnett's eyes only. I opened the envelope because I was Mac Barnett. I still am. Inside was a plane ticket and a stack of colorful British money. I wondered if the arcade would exchange British money for American quarters. They wouldn't, so Freddie and I took a taxi to the airport. Chapter 3, Spy Life. That is how it happens. 1 minute, you're waiting for your mom to pick you up from a mini golf course in California. The next minute, you're flying to England on a secret mission to protect the crown jewels. I know it does not make much sense, but when I think back on the many years I spent being a kid, things like this happened a lot. Grown-ups were always making me do things that did not make much sense. Maybe life's different for you. I hope so, but I have a feeling you know what I mean. So here he is flying from California to England. Chapter 4, The Queen's Palace. This is Buckingham Palace. It is one of the many palaces owned by the Queen of England. Buckingham Palace is a very nice place to live. It has 240 bedrooms, 78 bathrooms, 39 acres of gardens, several nice vases, and a big flagpole. When the Queen is home, this flag flies from the roof. It's the royal standard, the Queen's own flag. When the Queen is staying somewhere else at one of her other castles, this flag flies from the roof. It's the Union Jack, the flag of Great Britain. When I passed through the gates in front of Buckingham Palace in the back seat of a swift black car, I looked up and saw this flag. Frowning men in suits ushered me through a tall door and through many more doors until I arrived in a large pink and blue room. "Please wait here, Mr. Barnett," said one of the frowning men. "The Queen will see you momentarily." He smoothed his suit and disappeared through a tall door. I was alone. When I was a kid, I was very small, the smallest kid in my class. The pink and blue room made me feel even smaller. That one room was bigger than my whole house and had more chairs too. I thought about having a seat, but the chairs did not look like anyone had ever sat in them, so I just looked at some old paintings instead. There were pictures of women with crowns, men with dogs, and kids with goat legs. I like those pictures the best. Halfway around the room, I stumbled across a table with a nice vase and a bowl of hard candies. I was very hungry. I hadn't eaten since a sliced pizza in the arcade, and so I decided to help myself to one. After I unwrapped the candy, but before I could pop it into my mouth, a tall door opened nearby. Another frowning man entered and frowned harder. "Please replace the candy in its bowl and follow me to the Corgi room." Chapter 5, The Corgi Room. Sounds like a dream. In my life, I've seen many strange things, but nothing is stranger than what I saw in the Corgi Room. The Corgi Room contained 11 wicker baskets, and 10 of the baskets contained a Corgi. Oh my. How cute would that be? Some of the Corgis were curled up and sleeping. Some of them sniffed and some of them scratched. Some of them pointed their snouts in the air and yapped. In the middle of the room, the Queen of England, dressed in red from hat to shoes, stood and gazed fondly at her dogs. When Freddie saw the Queen, he ran up and began licking her ankle. "To bed, Freddie," said the Queen. He gave her leg one last lick and hopped into the empty basket. Finally, the Queen faced me. I bowed. "What are you doing?" asked the Queen. "Bowing," I said. The Queen rolled her eyes. "That's not how you bow." "I'm trying my best," I said. Said the Queen. "I don't really know how to bow," I said. "I'm from California." "I'm aware of that," said the Queen. "It's one of my least favorite things about you." At that moment, a wonderful smell wafted into the Corgi room. At the next moment, a graceful butler wafted into the room as well. He was holding a silver tray piled with beautifully patterned bowls heaped with steaming food. He placed his tray down atop a gold table. I couldn't stop staring at it. "Seared and diced filet steak," said the butler, "poached pheasant over steamed and lightly spiced rice, and grilled leg of rabbit and finely chopped cabbage. A beef gravy tonight, Your Majesty." He frowned, bowed, and left. It sounded delicious. "Excellent," said the Queen. "You have arrived just in time for dinner." "That is excellent," I said. "I was speaking to Freddie. Corgis, line up." The dogs formed a half circle around the Queen and sat staring at her. She picked up the gravy boat and, holding one pinky out, poured a little into each bowl. Then she set down a bowl of steak in front of a Corgi with gray fur. "Agatha, you may eat." Agatha ate. The Queen turned to me. "Agatha is 13 years old," the Queen explained. "The dogs eat in order of seniority." When Agatha had eaten her steak, the Queen gently laid a bowl of rabbit before the next dog. "You may eat, Simon," she said the Queen. Simon ate. One by one, oldest to youngest, the Queen fed her 11 dogs. This is how the Queen's Corgis ate dinner each night. That's true, you can look it up. When Freddie finished, the Queen said, "Corgis to bed," and they all returned to their baskets. I had hoped there would be some food left over. There wasn't. The Queen smiled at me. "Now," she said, "we have important lessons. What important lesson have you learned from what you just saw?" "Always pack snacks on a long road trip," I said. "Incorrect," said the Queen. "Respect your elders." "Oh," I said. "Okay." "But Max," said the Queen, "I did not bring you to England to teach you important lessons. You're here to protect the crown jewels. For tonight, someone will attempt to steal them." I gasped, even though she had kind of already told me that on the phone. "Who's going to steal them?" I asked. "Nobody, I should hope." "You know what I mean," I said. "Ask your questions more precisely," said the Queen. "Who is going to attempt to steal them?" I asked. "That's the wrong question," said the Queen. "The question is not who, but why." "What?" The Queen pulled a piece of paper from her red purse. "I received this letter in yesterday's post," she said. The letter was written in bright red ink. This is what the letter said. Okay, so it said, "Tomorrow night I will get what my great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather did not. I will not be stopped. We've been waiting 318 years. "Wow," I said. "Indeed," said the Queen. "I still don't get it," I said. The Queen sighed. "I shall tell you a story, a true story. In 1671, oh boy," I said. Chapter 6, Bad Blood. "In 1671, said the Queen, "a very bad man did a very bad thing. The man's name was Thomas Blood. He was known throughout England as Colonel Blood." "Good name," I said. "Colonel Blood was a handsome man and a smooth talker, a rebel, a kidnapper, an Irishman, and a secret agent for the King of England." "He was a lot of things," I said. "We are all of us a lot of things," said the Queen. "Another thing Blood was a jewel thief. Now one day, in 1671, Colonel Blood visited the Tower of London disguised as a parson." A parson, I said. A vicar, said the Queen. A vicar? A priest. Oh, okay, I said. Blood brought with him a woman disguised as a parson's wife. So here he is in disguise. This woman's name is lost to history, so I will just make one up for her. Wilhelmina. Wilhelmina? A good name. Simple. I said, can you just make up a name? Can you just make up a name in a true story, I asked. When you're the one telling the story, you can do whatever you want, said the Queen. Now, Blood put his awful plan into motion. Standing in the Tower of London before these wonderful treasures, crowns and scepters and orbs, Wilhelmina swooned and fell to the floor. Help! Help! Cried Colonel Blood. Someone please help my wife. Wilhelmina has fainted dead away. The good Talbot Edwards, keeper of the crown jewels, rushed to her aid. He and Blood carried the woman upstairs to the keeper's apartments. Edward called out to his wife, "Fetch this poor woman some spirits." On the couch, the patient flooded her eyes and sat up straight. "Oh, thank you, good sir. I believe you've saved my life." Colonel Blood clapped Edwards on the back. "How can we ever repay you?" "Oh, parson," said Edwards, "there is no need." But the next day, Blood returned bearing gifts. "What kind of gifts?" I asked. "Wonderful gifts," said the Queen. "Gloves." "Gloves," I said. "Gloves," said the Queen. I said. "The best gifts are those you can wear," said the Queen. "No," I said, "the best gifts are those you can read, tied with those you can play." "Like a bassoon," said the Queen. "Like a Nintendo game," I said, "followed by those you can play with." "Like a nanny?" "Like a super soaker, followed by those you can eat." "Seems you do a lot of thinking about gifts," said the Queen. I did. I still do. My mom always thought the best gifts were those you could wear, which is why I own 3 pairs of overalls and no super soakers. "Anyway," said the Queen, "Colonel Blood, disguised as a parson, gave Edwards the gloves. Here, Mr. Edwards, a gift for you and your wife. Take these 4 pairs of gloves and..." How many hands does this lady have?" I asked. The more the gloves, the better the gift," said the Queen. "Everybody knows that." The next day, Blood came back. "My friend Edwards," Blood said, "I'd like to buy your collection of pistols." "My pistols," Edward said, "but they're worthless. I don't think these old guns should fetch very much money." But Blood bought Edward's pistols and paid a lot of money for them. "Truly," said Edwards, "how my fortunes have changed since I met you, good parson." So here's all the pistols. Just think, the man has sold his guns for great sums. He was swimming in gloves. Now, Edward joked, if only someone would marry my daughter. Now it was time to spring the trap. Colonel Blood smiled. "Why, sir, I have a rich nephew," he said, "who's seeking a wife." "Uh-oh," I said. Old Mr. Edwards beamed at the news. "Well, let us meet this young gentleman. Bring him to dinner." And so, one warm spring night, Colonel Blood and 2 men rode forth to the Tower of London. "This is my handsome nephew," said Blood, "and this other fellow here, with the mallet and sharp knives in his belt arm, he's my 3rd cousin." Mrs. Edwards stood in the kitchen, humming a tune and preparing their supper. Young Miss Edwards was upstairs trying on lovely dresses to look nice for her suitor. "Perhaps while we wait," said Blood, "you might show my family the crown jewels. They would so like to see them." Oh no, I said. Oh yes, said the Queen. Poor Edward was only too happy to do it. He fetched his keys and led the men downstairs, and when he unlocked the door to the jewel room, Colonel Blood threw his cloak over Edward's head. The men tied up the good keeper like a sheep in a sack. Then they hit him with mallets. This is awful, I said. It is history, said the Queen. Then they stabbed him. Oh, come on, I exclaimed. Colonel Blood hid a crown in the folds of his robe. His nephew stuffed a gold orb down the front of his trousers. I said, and the third man set to sawing a scepter in half. Why, I asked. Well, so it would fit inside his trousers, said the Queen. But on the floor, under the cloak, battered and stabbed, Edward cried out, Treason! Murder! The crown jewels are stolen! Guards swarmed the tower. The thieves fled for the Thames. Fetch my pistols, cried Edwards. They're mounted up on the... Oh. He had sold all of his pistols. He had no more pistols. Bam! Running for the river, Blood fired a pistol, probably one of Edward's, over his shoulder, but he and his band were tackled before they could get on their horses. And what do you think happened then? They cut off his head, I asked. No, the king forgave Colonel Blood and gave him some nice land in the County Meath, Ireland. Nice county. But he tried to steal the king's stuff. As I said the Queen, we are all of us a lot of things. Some of them good, some of them bad. Yes, he was a thief, but the man had panache. Panache? Style and verve. Colonel Blood possessed swagger, and the king had a soft spot for scoundrels. Besides, the crown jewels were fine. A little dinged up, yes, but they were repaired. The story ends happily. What about Edwards, I asked. Oh, Edwards. The king gave him £300 for his troubles. That's it, I asked. He got stabbed. £300 was a lot of money back then. Although now that you mention it, let me have a look at the royal checkbook. The Queen put on some glasses and dug through her purse. She pulled out a large book. Ah, well, would you look at that? It appears Edwards was never paid. Whoopsie. What? I said. This was before my time, said the Queen. Anyway, Edward's got a wonderful story, and isn't a good story the greatest treasure of all? I said. So we're going to stop there. I hope you're enjoying the story so far. Next week, I will post 6 more chapters up for you. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.